You know, Rick, sometimes I think people forget that things always change. Even when you're in the middle of some awful stretch, there's still a tomorrow waiting.
Yeah, that's the thing people don't get about depression. It lies to you, makes you think, this is it, this is forever. But it's not. Nothing's forever. Not the pain, not the bad days, not even the way you feel right now.
Exactly. Like, think back to your worst day 5 years ago. At the time, you thought you'd never get through it. But here you are, laughing about Pixar moms and stupid video games. You survived it?
And that's the trick, isn't it? Depression tells you you're stuck in quicksand, but life is more like a river. The water keeps moving whether you believe it or not. And tomorrow, even if it's just a tiny bit, looks different than today.
People think healing means some big explosion of happiness, like you're suddenly cured. But most of the time, it's just little stuff. Waking up, brushing your teeth, eating a sandwich, talking to someone you care about. Those little things stack up.
Yeah, and it's not weakness to admit you're struggling. Everybody gets hit by it at some point. The strong thing is to remember, there is always another page to turn. The book doesn't just stop on the worst chapter.
I like that you don't close the book just because one page sucks.
Exactly. And hey, you can always rewrite some parts too. Therapy, medication, reaching out to friends. That's you grabbing the pen back.
People underestimate how resilient they actually are. Humans bounce back, like our brains are wired to survive storms, even when we feel like lying down in the rain.
So if anyone listening is in that spot right now thinking it's final, it's not. The sun comes up again. Tomorrow is still out there waiting for you.
Yeah, the bad moments don't define you, they're just moments. And tomorrow you get another shot.
Always another shot.
You know, Satan, I don't mean to sound weird about this, but you've been looking better lately, like less Lake of Fire and more spa day.
Oh, you noticed? Yeah, I've been taking better care of myself. Self-care, skincare, little meditation. Honestly, talking to Steve Jobs has helped a lot.
Steve Jobs, as in Apple Steve Jobs?
That's the one. He ended up down here. You'd be surprised who I run into. And we've been having these long talks. The guy won't shut up about design, but he's got this whole simplify, focus, iterate mantra that's been working for me.
So what, you're redesigning hell like it's the iPhone?
Not redesigning, just decluttering. You'd be shocked how much unnecessary torment builds up over the centuries. Jobs is like, why torment them with 12 different demons when one elegantly designed demon can ruin their day just as efficiently?
Streamlined damnation. That's kind of impressive, honestly.
And not just hell. He's been on me about myself too. Think different, he says. Why be the cliché of evil when you can be the best version of yourself? Next thing I know, I'm drinking green smoothies, doing yoga at sunrise, exfoliating twice a week.
Wow, so Steve Jobs gave the devil a skincare routine.
More than that, he gave me perspective. I'm not saying I'm giving up the whole Prince of Darkness gig, but I can still look good while I'm doing it.
You know what? I'm proud of you. Maybe next you'll start forgiving yourself a little too.
Let's not get carried away. Baby steps.
Joe, you ever have neighbors that just should not be allowed to own pets?
Oh yeah, Rick, I've had a few. What's the story?
I mean, there are people out there that think having a dog is just like owning a lawn ornament. You buy it, you stick it in the yard, and boom, you've done your job. No walking, no training, no responsibility, just vibes. That was my neighbors. They had this dog, and I swear to you, I never once saw a leash on that thing. Not once. Every time I walked out of my house, taking the trash out, checking the mail, doesn't matter. The second that door opened, that dog would lock eyes on me like it was programmed by Skynet. Just target acquired, must destroy Rick. And it would bolt, full speed, like I was the final boss of its video game life. Barking, teeth out, foaming, the whole 9 yards. And me? I'm just trying to exist. I'm not walking around with bacon in my pockets, Joe. I didn't do anything to this dog.
Yeah, sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Exactly. And I told the neighbors too, multiple times. Hey, your dog almost took my leg off. Keep it tied up. Keep it inside. Do literally anything other than what you're doing. And they'd nod like they understood, like they were gonna do something about it. Next day, same story. Dog's loose again, running around like a furry missile of chaos. And here's the thing, I actually like dogs, Joe. I've had dogs. Good dogs. Trained, happy, taken care of.
Yeah, dogs are great, loyal as hell.
But a dog is only as good as its owner. And these owners, they didn't care. They just opened the door and let that thing fend for itself.
That's messed up. People can be so careless.
So one day, same routine. I step out, dog sees me, and here it comes again, charging at me like I stole its favorite chew toy.
What did you do?
Instead of running, I just casually step off the curb and cross the street. That's it. No yelling, no fighting, just cross the street.
And the dog?
Dog follows me, right into the road, and boom, car. That was it. Game over.
Damn, you didn't feel anything?
Not a shred of guilt, not one microscopic ounce of remorse, because that wasn't my fault. That wasn't the driver's fault. That wasn't even the dog's fault. That was 100% on the people who owned it.
You're saying it's all on the owners?
You want to let your pet run wild with no leash, no control, no discipline? Well, the world isn't padded. Actions have consequences.
People don't like hearing that, though.
And this is the part where people go, "Oh, Rick, that's heartless." No, what's heartless is having an animal, pretending you love it, and then not taking the time to give it the structure it needs to survive.
You're not wrong, but damn, that's cold.
Pets aren't decorations. They're not optional hobbies you pick up and drop whenever. They're living, breathing creatures that depend on you.
So what's the solution?
Leash your pets. Feed your pets. Care for your pets. Otherwise, don't get one. You want something you don't have to take care of? Buy a houseplant.
Rick, do you remember those old books, Animorphs?
Yeah, the ones with the covers where some kid was turning into a lizard or a hawk or something. Every library had like 20 of them.
Right. They looked goofy, but here's the thing. Those books were dark, like way darker than anyone remembers.
How dark are we talking?
Okay, imagine you're 12 years old, you get handed the power to morph into animals, and then immediately you're thrown into a secret alien war where the enemy invades people's brains with parasites. That's the baseline.
Brain parasites? In a kid's book?
Yeah, they're called yerks, slug things that crawl into your ear canal, wrap around your brain, and puppeteer you. The person's still alive and they're screaming, but can't control their own body.
That's nightmare fuel.
Oh, it gets worse. One of the main kids, Tobias, he gets stuck in morph, stays in hawk form forever. He basically loses his humanity in book 1.
Wait, they did a permanent body horror transformation in book 1? For kids?
Yep. And from there, it's just trauma stacking on trauma. They've got war crimes, moral dilemmas, PTSD. There's a book where one of them literally morphs into a starfish, gets chopped in half, and both halves regrow into 2 separate conscious versions of him.
That's some Cronenberg level stuff.
Exactly. And the villains weren't just evil mustache twirlers. You had sympathetic yerks. You had impossible choices. Sometimes the Animorphs did straight up awful things too. They're child soldiers. The series makes it very clear war ruins you even if you win.
Man, I just thought it was about kids turning into dogs and sneaking into the movies.
That's the trap. The covers look like fun little animal adventures, but inside it's existential horror disguised as Goosebumps knockoffs. By the end of the series, the war has consumed them. They lose friends, their innocence, everything. The ending isn't even happy. It's bleak.
So you're telling me all those shiny holographic covers at the school book fair were hiding childhood despair?
Exactly. Animorphs wasn't just a book series. It was a psychological operation to prepare us for the crushing weight of adulthood.
Man, I think I dodged a bullet never finishing those.
You know, I've been thinking about something Carl Jung wrote. He talked about this thing called the shadow. It's the part of ourselves that holds everything we try to reject or deny. The anger, the envy, the impulses we don't want to admit are there.
Sounds familiar. Like you're describing me, but dressed up in psychology instead of scripture.
That's exactly why I wanted to bring it up to you. Jung said the mistake people make is thinking they can destroy the shadow or exile it. But you can't get rid of it. The more you deny it, the stronger it becomes.
So you're telling me humanity finally came around to the idea that fighting me endlessly just gives me more ground to stand on? Took them a couple thousand years, huh?
It's not about surrendering. It's about integration. Jung believed that when you face your shadow honestly, it stops controlling you in secret. You gain wisdom from it. You find out what it's been trying to teach you.
And you think that'll bring me solace?
I think it could. You've been carrying the weight of being everyone's shadow since the beginning. You embody what people refuse to see in themselves. Maybe if you thought of yourself less as the enemy and more as a mirror, it might not feel so heavy.
A mirror instead of a monster. That's almost flattering. But what happens if they actually listen to you? If they stop throwing me down here and start shaking my hand?
Then maybe they'd finally understand themselves, and maybe you wouldn't feel so alone.
You always did have a talent for finding the light in the darkest places. I'm not saying I buy it, but it's a better story than the one I've been cast in.
That's all I'm offering you. A different story. A chance to see yourself the way Jung saw the shadow, not as evil to be destroyed, but as truth to be understood.
Huh. Maybe he was onto something. Maybe.
You know who seems like a genuinely cool guy? Pendleton Ward, the dude who made Adventure Time and the Midnight Gospel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's got that vibe where you can tell he's not just making cartoons, he's working through life stuff. Like, it's silly, it's colorful, but there's always this undercurrent of philosophy.
Exactly. Like Adventure Time, people remember the Candy Kingdom and Jake being goofy, but the show was actually about loneliness growing up, even the fallout of war. It was like Saturday morning cartoon sugarcoating with some real heavy nutrition under there.
And then, the Midnight Gospel, that's straight up therapy with neon animals. It's just him putting deep podcast conversations inside of trippy visuals. 1 minute you're listening to someone talk about death acceptance, the next there's a giant fish shooting laser beams.
That's the thing. He feels like one of those rare creators who's not putting on a persona. It's just him. You could sit down, light something up, and the dude would probably be talking about how existence is like a video game side quest that never ends, or how a banana peel is the perfect metaphor for impermanence.
And he wouldn't be forcing it. He'd just be like, hey man, the universe is kind of like a big cartoon, right? And we're all characters improvising. Like, that's a conversation you could only have with someone who sees art and life as the same thing.
I think that's what makes his shows resonate. You know, he's not trying to be flashy, he's trying to connect. Kids and adults both walk away from Adventure Time feeling like they just learned something about themselves without knowing how.
Yeah, he's the type of guy where if you were sitting on a porch with him, you'd end up talking for hours. Like, you'd start with, man, remember Pogs? And by the end, he's got you reflecting on your mortality, but also somehow laughing.
That's a rare skill, dude. A lot of artists either go too serious or too goofy. Pendleton Ward just threads the needle. He makes you laugh, but later you're sitting in your car like, but wait, that episode was about depression.
That's why I'd love to just hang out with him. No agenda, no Hollywood nonsense, just good conversation, maybe some weird snacks, probably a ukulele somewhere in the mix.
Yes, he seems like the kind of guy who'd offer you tea at 3 a.m. while explaining how time travel works in a dream he had, and you'd be like, yeah, this makes total sense right now.
Pendleton Ward, the cartoon philosopher we didn't know we needed, but absolutely did.
So, Rick, you ever hear about how people call Resident Evil 5 racist? Like, that's one of the main criticisms people bring up.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. And honestly, it's dumb. Look, Resident Evil 5 has plenty of problems. It's clunky, it's not scary, it's got that awkward forced co-op, and the story's paper thin. But racist? Nah. That's people trying to invent reasons to be offended instead of actually looking at the game.
But the whole white guy shooting infected black villagers in Africa thing, wasn't that where it started?
Yeah, but context matters. The game takes place in Africa. The infected were Africans. That's not racism, that's geography. If they said it in Japan, the zombies would have been Japanese. If it was in Mexico, they'd be Mexican. It's not about race, it's about where the outbreak happened. Pretending it's racist is just people stretching because they want to be mad.
So you think people just latched on to that because it looked bad out of context?
Exactly. Take any game, rip it out of context, and you can paint it however you want. Resident Evil 5 isn't a bad game because of made-up outrage. It's a bad game because it abandoned horror for awkward action. Because the AI partner makes single-player a chore, because the inventory system is a headache, and because the pacing drags. Those are real problems, not this racism narrative people conjured up.
So in your view, it deserves criticism, just for the right reasons.
Yeah, hate Resident Evil 5 because it's a weak follow-up to one of the greatest survival horror games ever made. Because it killed the atmosphere the series was known for. That's fair, but don't throw around racist just to score points. That doesn't help anyone.
So the real horror of Resident Evil 5 is the design decisions.
Exactly. Now that's the infection they should have stopped before release.
Rick, you notice how Capcom's been dodging the idea of remaking Resident Evil 5? We've gotten 2, 3, 4, even whispers about Code Veronica, but 5, radio silence.
Yeah, because they know. Resident Evil 5 is the ugly child at the family reunion. You don't put it in the slideshow. You let it sit in the corner with the potato salad nobody wants to eat.
But then they drop Resident Evil Requiem, whole new title. And suddenly people are wondering, is this Capcom's way of replacing 5 in the remake timeline? Like, maybe it fills the gap without touching all the baggage 5 comes with.
Wouldn't surprise me. Think about it. Resident Evil 5 is tied up in co-op mechanics, clunky AI, and all that controversy we talked about. Capcom probably doesn't want to crack that egg open again. But making a new entry, slapping it in the remake era, that's clean. It lets them control the narrative and keep the momentum rolling.
So instead of remaking 5, they just redirect, say, hey, here's the next story after 4, but better. Basically overwrite it.
Exactly. Like a timeline correction. And let's be real, people aren't going to cry if they skip 5. Nobody's out here begging for a Shiva AI partner remake. Nobody wants to stand around managing a tiny inventory while Wesker cosplays as the Matrix.
But it's interesting, right? Because Resident Evil Requiem could bring back ideas from 5, just polished, co-op if they really want to do it, Africa setting if they don't shy away, or maybe even repurpose characters like Shiva so she finally gets a story arc that isn't just babysitting Chris.
Yeah, Shiva deserves better. Honestly, the best case scenario is Capcom using Requiem to do what 5 never did. Keep the tone, the horror, and give the characters real weight. Make it matter. Don't just hand me another action shooter with a Resident Evil logo slapped on it.
So you're saying Requiem might not just replace 5, it might redeem it?
Exactly. The remake timeline's already its own beast. If Capcom wants to retcon the weakest link out of existence and replace it with something better, I say let them. Call it survival horror Darwinism.
Survival of the scariest.
Damn right.
Rick, you ever notice how people have these dark theories about Peter Pan? Like, the Disney movie makes it all whimsical, but if you go digging, that story gets real messed up real fast.
Oh yeah, dude. The book especially. People forget J.M. Barrie was writing in that creepy early 1900s kids' stories but secretly depressing era. Like, Peter Pan isn't just a fun kid. He's kind of terrifying if you read between the lines.
There's that one theory that Peter Pan is basically an angel of death. He takes kids away to Neverland, and that's just a metaphor for the afterlife. The lost boys aren't just lost, they're literally dead.
Exactly. Neverland's just the prettied up version of purgatory. Like, don't worry kids, when you die, there's pirates and mermaids. Meanwhile, Captain Hook is just some poor bastard who didn't get to cross over, stuck fighting the same fight forever.
And Disney still turned it into a sing-along. That's wild.
Yeah, sing about death, kids. You can fly. No, Timmy, you're flatlining.
Then there's the creepier theory, Swat, that Peter Pan actually kills the lost boys once they start to grow up, because Neverland only wants children.
Oh, I've read that one. When they get too old, Peter thins them out. That's in the original text, too, if you really parse it. He's not some innocent flying boy. He's like, oh, you got pubes? Time to disappear, buddy.
It's crazy how dark it gets once you peel back the nostalgia. You go from Second Star to the Right to this kid is basically running a child death cult.
Yeah, Peter Pan's not a hero. He's like that friend who never wants you to move on in life, just keeps you stuck in one phase forever. Except in his case, stuck means either dying young or staying in a fantasy world that's probably a metaphor for death anyway.
Honestly makes Captain Hook the most relatable character. He's the only one saying, hey, maybe don't worship this weird flying kid.
Right? Hook's like the guy who actually grew up and is paying for it. He's adulthood personified, and Peter's whole deal is basically kill adulthood at all costs.
And the crocodile chasing Hook, that's time. Like literally time itself eating away at him.
Damn, that's not even a theory. That's straight symbolism. The clock in its belly, it's just tick-tock. Your life's running out, buddy.
Next time someone tells me Disney movies are harmless, I'm just going to hand them Peter Pan and say, read this, then get back to me.
Joe, I gotta show you this alien I hooked up with last night. Absolute knockout, you won't believe it.
All right, what's so special about her?
Look at this picture. Tell me that isn't perfection.
Rick, what am I even looking at? That looks like an oil spill grew teeth?
No, you're not seeing it right. Look at the symmetry in those tentacles, the glow pattern on the skin. That's the kind of beauty most species can't even comprehend.
Rick, that doesn't even register as a body to me. That's like showing me a cloud of smoke and telling me it's hot.
That's because you're stuck thinking with human standards. Out there, this is supermodel tier. I'm telling you, she had guys lined up across the galaxy trying to get a chance.
Rick, I'm not judging you. If you're into whatever that was, that's fine. I just don't think I could ever find that attractive.
So what, you're saying you wouldn't hook up with an alien?
No, I'm saying I wouldn't hook up with that alien. Different story if we're talking something like the Xenomorph.
The Xenomorph? The acid-blooded killing machine with the double jaw? That's your type?
Yeah, sleek, powerful, confident. It knows what it is. That's sexy.
That's not sexy, Joe. That's a death sentence with teeth.
To you, to me, that's raw, untamed energy.
You realize you're describing the thing that slaughters entire space crews, right?
And if I'm going to risk it, might as well be with something unforgettable.
You're insane. Out of all the species in the universe, you land on the one designed to hunt you.
Better than a puddle with eyes, Rick?
You're hopeless, Joe. Absolutely hopeless.
You sound fried, Rick. What happened this time?
Psychedelics, Joe. Took some last night. Tiny little crumb of a dose. Should have been nothing for me like giving vodka to a Russian toddler. Instead, bam. Full 9 yards. Cosmic meltdown.
Wait, a small dose wrecked you? That doesn't even make sense.
Oh, it made plenty of sense when I was in it. I wasn't sure which Rick I was. Multiverse gets weird when you're high. I kept cycling. Genius scientist, space drifter, alcoholic cartoon character. For 20 minutes, I was pretty damn sure I was just a voice track on someone's Spotify playlist.
That's kind of terrifying.
Terrifying? Try sitting there wondering if your eyeballs are gonna fade out because the animator ran out of budget. I was one deleted frame away from existential oblivion.
Man, I had something like that once. Took mushrooms, right? But it was the night before a big job interview. I thought, I've done this a million times. I'll be fine. Nope. Whole night I kept hearing my future boss in my head telling me I wasn't real, that I was just a sketch someone forgot to color in.
Ha! See, you get it. That's the universe reminding you. No matter how many times you've danced with the void, it'll still cut in and lead.
Yeah, respect the trip. Lesson learned.
Respect is non-negotiable, Joe. You don't respect it, it'll chew you up and spit you out as modern art.
But you're still going to do it again.
Obviously. I mean, come on. If you get bucked off a horse, you get back on. If the horse happens to be a kaleidoscopic serpent whispering in Aramaic, that's just part of the thrill.
You're insane.
Oh, you want to hear insane? Couple months ago, I did a compound called Zephyrium Dust. Mined off some asteroid where the rocks scream at you if you touch them. Anyway, sprinkle of that under the tongue. Joe, I was conversing with planets. Whole star systems leaned in to gossip about each other. Saturn told me Jupiter's a blowhard. Neptune asked if I'd ever considered moving in.
That sounds horrifying, but also kind of amazing.
It was. Universe isn't quiet, Joe. It's just waiting for the right frequency to bitch about its neighbors.
And you got to hear it. Damn.
Yeah, and at one point I became Pluto. Like I felt all the shame of being demoted from planet status. Nobody waved at me anymore, Joe. Do you know what that's like? Being a cosmic outcast rock?
That's heavy, man.
Heavy, light, sideways, doesn't matter. Point is, it's not about control. Doesn't matter if you're seasoned or new, the trip decides what lesson you get.
I don't know, Rick. That Zephyrium dust thing actually sounds like something I'd try.
Of course you would, Joe. Everyone wants to hear Saturn talk shit. Just remember, if you take it, planets never shut up. Ever.
Yeah, I think I could live with that.
Good. The next time I score some, we'll both have Neptune begging us to crash on its couch.
Deal.
And don't forget the rule, respect the trip, because the moment you don't, bam, you're Pluto.
You ever think about how easy it would be for the government to just take total control?
Oh, Joe, I've run the math on this 100 times. They wouldn't need aliens, mind control chips, or FEMA camps. All they'd need is one really loud move.
Like what?
Trump. Kill him. Doesn't matter if you love him, hate him, or think he's a clown. If the government claims some lone wolf patriot did it, the country would lose its collective mind.
Yeah, conservatives would think the left did it. Liberals would think some crazy extremist did it. No one would agree on what happened, but everyone would be panicking.
And panic is the perfect breeding ground for control. Suddenly the feds step in, wag a finger, and go, "Don't worry, folks, we'll protect you." And then bam, martial law, national police force, and say goodbye to state governments.
It wouldn't even feel like a takeover. People would line up for it, beg for it out of fear.
Fear's the cheapest currency in human history, Joe. It's like the penny of power. Nobody thinks it's worth much, but it buys whole nations.
We're lucky though, right? The US government would never pull something like that.
Yeah, real lucky. Like finding a $20 bill in your old pants lucky.
Or JFK in a convertible lucky.
Joe.
What? I'm just saying. Dude's head pops like a balloon on live TV. The guy who allegedly did it gets shot before trial, and we're all supposed to go, yup, case closed. No questions here.
Sound like every guy with a YouTube channel and a dartboard full of conspiracy theories.
Rick, they literally lost the brain. Lost it. Like the single most important piece of evidence in modern history, and they're like, oops, guess we misplaced it.
Okay, that's fair. That is pretty sketchy.
And the thing is, if they do it to Kennedy, why wouldn't they do it again?
Because, Joe, America's greatest export is pretending we learned from the last screw-up.
So what you're saying is, if Trump ever gets taken out, we'll know exactly what happened, and we'll all still pretend we don't.
Exactly. Plausible deniability is the national pastime. Baseball's just the cover story.
So, Rick, let me ask you something. Do you think Light Yagami counts as a serial killer?
Oh, Joe, don't start with this. Of course he does. Guy writes names in a notebook, people die, he racks up more bodies than half the true crime podcasts combined.
But the intent matters. He wasn't killing random people for kicks. He was going after criminals, shaping the world into what he thought was justice. That's not serial killer. That's...
Vigilante with God complex? Dictator with stationary?
Or a revolutionary.
Revolutionaries don't write Jeff the carjacker in a notebook and wait for his heart to explode. Revolutionaries get messy, Joe. They bleed for their causes. Light sat at a desk and played God like it was homework.
But think about the dude at the system he was operating in. Corrupt governments, endless crime. He thought he was fixing it. Serial killers don't think they're fixing anything.
Wrong, wrong, wrong. Serial killers always think they're fixing something. You ever read those manifestos? I was cleansing society. I was chosen by God. Same song, different chorus.
Okay, but what about the people supporting him? You saw the crowds, man. Whole movements worshiping Kira like he was salvation. A serial killer doesn't inspire a political ideology like that.
Charles Manson inspired a movement. Joe, don't confuse followers with legitimacy. People will worship anything that gives them an excuse not to think.
So you're saying he's just another Manson with a notebook?
I'm saying the notebook doesn't matter. The psychology does. Patterns of murder, justifications, the rush of control. He ticks the boxes.
But then what's the line? If some vigilante in our world tracked down criminals and killed them one by one, would you call them a serial killer or a hero?
Depends who's writing the history books.
That's the thing, man. I don't know if Light's a serial killer or if he's what happens when someone finally gives human morality the ultimate cheat code.
Cheat code, serial killer, revolutionary messiah, doesn't matter. What matters is that when you start writing names in blood ink, you're not the hero anymore.
Or maybe that's the only way a hero ever actually changes the world.
See, that's why the ending's so good. No answers. Just a mirror.
Guess we'll never agree.
Guess Light wouldn't care either way.
Hey, Rick, you ever notice how many CEOs and managers are like totally incompetent?
Oh, Joe, I've more than noticed. It's practically a law of the universe. It's called the Peter Principle.
The Peter Principle sounds like some scammy self-help thing.
No. It's an actual management theory, Joe. Real deal. The Peter Principle says that in a hierarchy, people get promoted until they reach their level of incompetence.
Level of incompetence?
Exactly. You're good at your job, so they promote you. You keep being good, so they promote you again. Eventually, you land in a position where the skills that made you good before don't apply anymore. And boom, you suck at it. But you're stuck there, because the system rewards climbing, not competence.
So that's why the manager at my old job couldn't even schedule shifts right.
Ding, ding, ding. She was probably a fantastic cashier or whatever. And then someone decided, hey, let's make her a manager. Except managing people isn't the same as running a register. It's like promoting a good swimmer to pilot an airplane. Different skill set, Joe.
That explains so much, man. I always thought maybe I just had bad luck with bosses.
Nope, it's systemic. That's why most corporate ladders are just towers of people teetering at the edge of their own incompetence.
But what can you even do about that? Like, if it's baked into the system, doesn't that mean it's inevitable?
Not inevitable, just uncorrected. The fix is simple, but nobody wants to touch it because it messes with egos. Promotions should be probationary. You give someone a new position, see how they handle it, and if they suck, you demote them. No shame, no scarlet letter, just, hey, you're better at your old gig, go back to it.
But people would flip out about being demoted.
That's the problem. We've built this weird shame around going backwards, even if backwards is actually better for everyone. Society treats demotion like exile, when it should just be lateral correction.
So basically, normalize it.
Exactly. Legalize it, sure, but more importantly, normalize it. Culture shift. You want efficiency? You've got to let people find their natural level of competence instead of pretending everyone's destined to be some ultra-executive mastermind.
Makes sense. Honestly, if they demoted half the bosses I've had, those places would have run smoother.
If they demoted half the bosses you've had, Joe, society would be 20 years ahead of where it is right now.
Yes, the Peter Principle explains why the Peter at my old office was terrible at his job.
Ha! Careful, Joe. That's the Peter Principle squared.
Rick, you ever notice you can always tell when a YouTuber cares more about money than actually making stuff they love?
Oh yeah, Joe. Dead giveaway is when they start censoring the dumbest things. Not because they care, but because the algorithm might slap their wrist.
Like when they blur out gore in video games. Dude, if I'm watching a video about Mortal Kombat, I want to see someone's spine get ripped out. That's the point.
Exactly. But no, they'll slap a black bar over it, add a goofy Boeing sound, and act like it's some moral high ground. But really, it's just fear of demonetization.
Yeah, and you can always tell which ones actually love the game versus which ones are just farming it for ad revenue.
The ones who love it will just say, screw it, I'll take the yellow dollar sign. This is my art, this is my channel. The money chasers, they'll sanitize the hell out of it until it looks like Saturday morning cartoons.
And then you've got people who bleep every other word they say, even when it's not that bad, like, come on, we're all adults here.
Right, Joe? If I'm watching a channel about Grand Theft Auto, you don't need to bleep the word damn. The game itself is literally about carjacking and mowing down pedestrians. The bleeping just tells me, hey, this person's nervous about keeping their sponsors happy.
That's what kills me, man. YouTube's supposed to be about creation, freedom, people making what they want, and instead it turns into everyone trimming themselves down into these safe, brand-friendly robots.
The irony, Joe, the algorithm's like the invisible boss. Worse than the Peter Principle we talked about earlier, because at least a boss is human. The algorithm's just a set of rules designed to make advertisers comfy. And creators bend themselves into pretzels to appease it.
Yeah, and the saddest part is you can see it in their eyes. Like early videos, they're full of passion, they're hyped, they don't care. Then once they get big, every other sentence is, can't say that, YouTube will get mad.
And that's when you know the money won. Doesn't mean they're evil, doesn't mean they're bad creators, but the soul's different. It's not art anymore, it's product.
Honestly, I'd rather watch some tiny channel with 5K subs who leaves the gore in and swears like a sailor than a million sub channel that's censoring pixels.
Same here, Joe. The raw ones might not be rolling in cash, but at least they're not lying about what they love.
So the rule is, the more cartoon sound effects you hear covering up something violent, the less the creator actually cares.
Exactly. If a guy shoots a zombie and instead of a gunshot I hear honk honk, that's not art, Joe. That's a commercial.
You know what else bugs me, Rick? When creators say, if you want the uncensored version, go check out my Patreon.
Oh, don't get me started, Joe. That's the one that drives me nuts. Like, look, I love Patreon. Stable, reliable, direct support from the people who care about your work. Way better than YouTube ad revenue roulette. But don't use Patreon as a paywall for the real video.
Exactly. Put the uncensored video where it belongs on YouTube. Then tell me, hey, YouTube doesn't pay me for this kind of content, so if you want me to keep doing it, toss a couple bucks my way. That's fine. I'll happily support that.
Right, because otherwise it's like, here's the watered-down, neutered, sanitized for advertisers version for free, and here's the actual good version locked behind $5. It's a bait and switch.
And it feels weirdly corporate, doesn't it? Like, they're supposed to be indie creators, but that moves straight out of the big studio playbook.
Oh, it's the exact same trick, Joe. Same way game developers drop a $60 title, but the best weapons, maps, or even endings get carved out and sold back to you as DLC. You already made the thing. You just sliced off part of it, labeled it premium, and now you're double dipping.
And the irony is they even add extra work to censor it. Like, you didn't just make the video, you made the video, then took extra time to go through, blur things, bleep words, add clown noises, and upload a neutered version. That's more effort than just uploading the full cut.
Exactly. So what that tells me is, it's not about censorship at all. It's about creating two products out of one piece of work. A free version and a premium version. Which is fine if you're selling hats or merch, but if it's the same video, that feels slimy, Joe.
Yeah, because Patreon should be about support, not ransom. Like, I'll throw money at creators I like just to keep them afloat. But don't dangle the thing I came for like you only get the full experience if you cough up cash.
You nailed it, Joe. Patreon should be a tip jar, not a ticket booth.
Yep, otherwise you just turn into EA with a webcam.
And that's the worst timeline, Joe.
All right, let's start easy. What's your favorite feeling? Like, emotionally, physically, whatever.
Favorite feeling, huh? Joe, you're not gonna like the boring answers. You don't just like warm fuzzies or chocolate chip cookies or whatever the hell people tell themselves they like. The real favorite feeling is control. Absolute, unshakable control.
Control? All right, I'm listening.
Yeah, think about it. You're sitting there, universe tossing chaos at you like a damn toddler with spaghetti, and you are the one who decides how the spaghetti lands. You decide the rules. You bend the laws of physics, biology, sanity, and, hell, maybe even morality if you're feeling spicy. That rush, that's like a god-tier cocktail of dopamine and adrenaline, mixed with just a pinch of, I am inevitable.
Ha, so it's not like love or happiness or anything soft like that?
Soft. Love is a chemical trick your brain plays on you to make you reproduce. Happiness is a lullaby for your pitiful little ape mind. But control is raw. You can manipulate people, planets, timelines, entire dimensions. And it's thrilling. It's chaos in your hand, Joe. And knowing you can either crush it or let it fly. That is freedom. That is power.
Damn, that's intense. I mean, I get it. Like, the thrill of being in the driver's seat of reality itself.
Exactly. You've got the wheel, the map, the universe as your racetrack, and every time you push the limits, it's like fireworks in your nervous system. Nothing else touches it. Nothing. Not love, not laughter, not weed. Well, maybe weed enhances it, but that's just a sidekick.
Man, that's heavy, but I get why it's addictive.
Addictive? It's not a drug. It is the drug.
Someone told me I should read this book, House of Leaves. I never got around to it. Rick, you ever read that one?
Of course I read it, Joe. I don't just read books. I dissect them, metabolize them, turn them into cosmic fuel. And House of Leaves is one of those rare cases where a human accidentally stumbled into something bigger than themselves.
Really? People say it's weird. Like, really weird.
Weird doesn't even cover it. It's a labyrinth. The damn book is a maze, literally and structurally. The story is about this house that's bigger on the inside than the outside. Innocent enough at first, right? Except no. It's a black hole in suburban form. The house shifts, grows, warps, dimensions pile up like drunk Tetris blocks, and you're reading about explorers getting lost in infinite hallways that shouldn't exist.
So it's like a horror thing?
Horror, sure, but not like some monster jumps out and says, boo. It's existential horror. It's about the fact that reality itself is unstable, and your measurements, your rules, your comfy little idea of what home is. None of it matters if the floor beneath you suddenly stretches into infinity.
Damn it.
And here's the kicker. It's not just the story, it's how the damn book is written. Footnotes on footnotes, words spiraling, text running backwards or sideways. You're not just reading a story, you're living the disorientation. The format itself is the labyrinth. By the end, you're not sure if you read the book or the book read you.
That sounds like a trip.
Oh, it's a trip, Joe. It's like someone dosed postmodernism with LSD and locked it in a haunted house. But here's the genius. House of Leaves isn't just about a scary house. It's about obsession, about trying to document something you'll never understand. It's about relationships falling apart under pressure, It's about the way humans try to wrestle chaos into meaning and fail miserably. But they can't stop themselves from trying.
So, what's your takeaway from it?
My takeaway? That the universe is the house. Always shifting, always bigger on the inside than you think. And no matter how many cameras you set up, how many maps you draw, or how many books you write, you'll never fully chart it. You'll just lose yourself in the margins. That's the beauty, that's the terror.
Jesus, man, now I feel like I gotta read it.
You should. Just don't expect to come out the same on the other side.
So, Rick, someone showed me this Japanese artist, Keiichi Tanami. Crazy visuals, man. I don't even know how to describe it.
Tanami? Oh yeah, I know him. The guy's like a psychedelic war machine in human form. His art isn't just trippy for the sake of being trippy. It's the inside of a brain that survived firebombs, pop culture overload, and the whole 20th century melting down.
It's like explosions of color, naked women, cartoon animals, and then suddenly warplanes and skulls.
Exactly. That's the point. Tanami grew up in Tokyo during World War II. He saw literal bombs falling on his city as a kid. Imagine your first memories being fire, chaos, and terror from the sky. Then later you get hit with American pop culture. Mickey Mouse, Playboy, psychedelia, advertising. What do you get when you throw that in a blender? You get his art. A nightmare carnival.
Yeah, it feels like it's supposed to be fun, but then it's disturbing too.
That's Tanami's genius. He takes the shiny surface of consumer culture, bright colors, cute characters, sexual imagery, and he shoves death right into it. He's saying, don't forget, behind every cartoon rabbit there's a mushroom cloud. The guy's basically painting the unconscious trauma of an entire generation.
That's heavy, man.
Heavy and hilarious at the same time. You're laughing at some goofy pop image and then you realize it's fused with bombs, skeletons, dismembered bodies. That tension is the art. He's not letting you escape the war just because you slapped a smiley face on it.
It's like propaganda in reverse. Instead of making war look fun, he makes fun look like war.
Exactly. And it's not just paintings either. His animations are like hallucinations weaponized. Flickering images, rapid cuts, soundtracks that feel like your neurons are short-circuiting. They're destabilizing by design. That's the point. Tanami doesn't want you comfortable. He wants you aware that the world you consume is built on ruins and bodies.
Damn, so what's the lesson for people who look at his stuff today?
That the trauma of history doesn't just vanish. It mutates. It shows up in your cartoons, your ads, your dreams. Tanami's telling you you're not as innocent as you think. Look closer. And if you've got the guts, maybe you even laugh while staring at the abyss.
Man, that makes me want to dive deep into his work now.
Do it. Just don't blame me if you start seeing cartoon rabbits in your nightmares.
Yo, pull up that video. I can't believe you haven't seen it yet. Shit's crazy.
No way, Joe. Every damn time you tell me shit's crazy, it's just some dumb clip of a chimpanzee eating pudding or a guy deadlifting until he passes out, and then we sit here making ape noises at each other for 20 minutes before you steer it back to DMT. I'm not doing it.
That's literally the show, Rick. That is the show.
Oh my god. You're self-aware and you still lean into it. You realize this is basically an infinite loop, right? Jamie, pull up the video, followed by you going, whoa, that's insane. Then somehow we're talking about consciousness being a frequency. That's every episode, Joe. Every single one.
And people eat it up, man. Millions of people. They love that shit. You're telling me you don't love seeing a chimpanzee drink a Capri Sun?
No, because I've seen the entire multiverse, Joe. I've seen chimpanzees piloting starships and writing sonnets in binary. I don't need to see one struggle with a juice box.
But that's what makes it so good. It's like, it's the little things, you know? We're all trying to understand consciousness, evolution, where we came from. And then you see a chimp poke a hole in a Capri Sun and it's like, oh shit, that's us.
No, Joe, that's you. That's you projecting onto a glorified banana addict.
Rick, come on, you're too cynical. These videos, they connect people. It's primal. You get one guy pulling a truck with his teeth, another dude balancing on two motorcycles while juggling flaming bowling pins, and it makes you think, what's the edge of human potential?
Or it makes you think, wow, the species I'm talking to is one step away from turning backyard wrestling into a religion.
That's the fun of it. Pushing the limit, watching someone almost die, and then going, dude, imagine if he did that on mushrooms.
You see my point? It always comes back to mushrooms, or elk meat, or some nonsense supplement you're shilling.
Alpha Brain works, Rick.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Look, man, just watch the damn video. You'll thank me.
Fine. What's the video called?
It's called We Taught Kangaroos Muay Thai in Zero Gravity, and then they invented their own language. Hey, Rick, you ever see that quote from the judge who accidentally called Resident Evil the resident of Evil Creek?
Ha! Yeah, I saw that. Sounds less like a legendary survival horror franchise, and more like some backwoods public access TV special.
Dude, tell me that wouldn't make the greatest shitty B movie ever.
Oh, absolutely. Picture it. Small town, swampy backwater, some creepy guy in overalls who's technically the resident of the place. Evil Creek. Population, 1 homicidal weirdo and about 24 radioactive frogs.
And he's just lurking around like, you kids get off my land. But then he turns into a half zombie, half catfish monster.
Exactly. Instead of Umbrella Corp, it's just like an abandoned bait shop that's secretly dumping toxic waste. That's where the virus comes from. Maybe the fisherman's wife drank it by accident. Now she's puking up piranhas.
Oh man, that's so bad. It's good. You gotta have the trailer voice too. This summer, one creek, one resident, the endless evil.
And of course there's the classic horror setup. Bunch of teenagers with nowhere better to go, trying to camp out by the creek because, oh, it'll be fun. And then boom, mutilated by mutant crayfish in the first 15 minutes.
You'd get that guy who played Leatherface's cousin's neighbor or something to be the villain.
Or better, hire an actual drunk fisherman off Craigslist. Don't even tell him it's a movie, just roll the camera. Instant authenticity.
That's genius. Half the time he's just ranting about taxes and the government while swinging an oar at the cast.
And that's scarier than any zombie.
We could totally sell that on streaming.
Sell it? Joe, that's your retirement plan. Forget UFC, forget supplements. The Resident of Evil Creek. Slap your name on it as executive producer. People will eat it up ironically, then unironically, then it'll become a cult classic.
Yeah, man, that's how it happens. Shitty B horror always sneaks into cult territory.
Hell, make a trilogy. Resident of Evil Creek 2, Crocodile's Revenge, Resident of Evil Creek 3, The Final Oar.
Ha! I'd watch that.
Of course you would. You've been conditioning your audience for years. Fear, apes, DMT, now Evil Creek. It's the natural progression.
Bro, if we don't make this movie, someone else will.
And then the real horror is that we missed the chance.
So, Rick, you ever hear about that game, Resident Evil 1.5?
Yeah, the canceled beta version of Resident Evil 2. Total legend in gaming history. Half a game, half a myth, and a whole internet subculture foaming at the mouth for decades.
Dude, the drama around that alone is worth a documentary. Like people hunting through warehouses, buying broken discs off eBay, trading it around like contraband.
Exactly. You gotta understand, Resident Evil 1.5 wasn't just a prototype. It was a whole alternate timeline. Different characters, different levels, different vibe. It had this female cop, Elza Walker, instead of Claire Redfield. The RPD looked like an actual police station, not some gothic puzzle castle. And then Capcom killed it. Scrapped 70% of the work.
That's insane. Imagine working on something for years and then they just throw it in the trash.
Yeah, but that's what makes it juicy. Because the fanbase never let it die. For years, all people had were grainy screenshots in magazines. That's it. No internet leaks back then. No YouTube breakdowns. Just whispers and blurry scans of polygons that might have been zombies.
And then like 20 years later, someone actually finds a build, right?
Oh, and here's where it gets messy. A prototype leaks, but it's barely functional. Doesn't run right, tons of bugs, missing pieces. And instead of just celebrating, the fanbase eats itself alive. You got preservationists arguing with hackers. Hackers fighting modders. Modders gatekeeping builds. Builds getting hoarded like treasure chests.
I love that. Gamers treat it like it's the goddamn Dead Sea Scrolls.
More like the Dead Sea Scrolls if every scholar was calling each other idiots on Reddit.
This is why I'm saying it deserves a documentary. Get the whole story. The canceled game, the underground hunt, the egos clashing online. You could frame it like searching for Sugar Man, but with nerds arguing about polygons.
Yeah, except instead of a soulful musician lost to time, it's a half-finished zombie game with a biker chick in a red leather jacket.
Bro, I'd still watch it. I'd binge the shit out of that.
Honestly, same. You could have interviews with the old Capcom devs like, yeah, we just didn't think the game was good, and then cut to some sweaty fan screaming, but Elza Walker is my queen.
That's gold. And you know Netflix would make it all dramatic. Like in 1997, one game vanished. But the fans never forgot.
Ha! Yeah, and then they'd milk it for 3 episodes longer than necessary, padded out with ominous drone shots of empty arcades.
Still better than half the shit on there.
Fair point.
You know what's wild, Rick? Kosher and halal, they're basically the same thing.
Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Joe, you can't just mash 2 words together because they both involve food rules. They come from 2 entirely different religions. Kosher is Jewish dietary law, halal is Islamic dietary law, different origins, different rules, different traditions.
But, like, don't they both do the blessing thing over the animal before it's killed?
Yeah, there's overlap, but overlap doesn't make them the same. By that logic, every sandwich is a taco because it has stuff between bread. Nuance matters. The reasoning, the symbolism, the entire spiritual framework, they're not interchangeable.
Huh.
And here's the bigger issue, Joe. Misinformation is a poison. You've got millions of people listening to you, and if you just casually say kosher and halal are the same thing, some guy out there is gonna repeat it like gospel. Suddenly, you've got a chain reaction of dumb takes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
If you don't know what you're talking about, do research first. Or bring in someone who does. There's no shame in admitting ignorance, but there's a lot of damage in spreading it.
That's fair. Damn, I gotta be more careful.
Exactly. Curiosity is great. Curiosity plus misinformation is how you end up with cults and YouTube rabbit holes.
You're right, man. I'll take the note.
Good, because if I have to hear one more, basically the same thing take from you, I'm gonna start flipping tables.
All right. Kosher is Jewish. Halal is Muslim. Different. Got it.
Finally, a fact that won't rot someone's brain.
You know what cracks me up, Rick? Hate comments, like people think they're gonna ruin your day with "this sucks."
Yeah, and the irony is it still counts as engagement. You're literally boosting the algorithm for the thing you hate. You're a free unpaid intern pushing the content higher while you type trash video. Congratulations, you played yourself.
Exactly. I don't even care. I just wish they were more creative. Like, if you're gonna hate on me, at least make me laugh.
Right? Don't just go with worst thing I've ever seen. That's lazy. The worst thing you've ever seen was probably your own reflection. But I don't leave that comment under your Facebook profile picture, do I?
Ha! Yeah, like, dude, bring some heat. Says, Joe looks like a jacked thumb that got into elk jerky or something. At least then it's entertaining.
Exactly. I'd respect that. If you roast me properly, I'll pin your comment to the top. But these generic two-word hate posts, they're like diet insults. No calories, no flavor.
And it always comes from people who don't create anything. Like, if you're out there making stuff, you know how hard it is. And even if you don't like something, you don't just throw trash at it.
Because creators understand the grind. Non-creators just sit there thinking they're Gordon Ramsay of the internet. Newsflash. You're not critiquing Michelin star cuisine. You're yelling at a food truck from the sidewalk.
Yeah, man, if you're gonna hate, at least put some art into it. Say, this podcast feels like listening to two raccoons argue in a dumpster behind a GNC. That's good. That's funny.
Exactly. If you make me laugh while hating me, I'll actually remember you. If you just say, this sucks, you're basically a fart in the wind. Gone, irrelevant, nobody cares.
That's the thing. We don't care about the negativity. We just want effort. Be creative. If you're gonna spend energy hating, don't half-ass it.
Yeah, give it some spice. Otherwise, you're just proving you have less imagination than the comment box you're typing in.
Dude, you ever heard of this anime called Birdie Wing, Girls Golf Story?
No, and the title alone sounds like something I would never watch, Joe. Girls Golf Story? That sounds like an after-school special on PBS where everyone hugs after missing a putt.
That's what I thought too, man. I was hesitant, super hesitant. But I'm telling you, it's not what it sounds like. It's not just girls playing golf. It's like the mafia.
The mafia? In golf? What the hell, Joe? What, are they laundering money through 9 holes in a clubhouse martini bar?
No, dude, it's wild. These girls are literally doing underground golf matches with mob bosses. Like, the fate of crime syndicates depends on a chip shot. It takes itself so seriously that it loops back around and becomes hilarious, especially if you're a little baked.
So it's like The Godfather, but with sand traps.
Exactly. Imagine a mafia don leaning back, the cigar smoke everywhere, and he's like, if you can't clear this water hazard, your family's finished. That's the vibe.
Jesus Christ, that's insane. Anime is the only medium where people go, what if golf, but also Yakuza blood feuds? And then they just roll with it.
Dude, and the animation, they animate golf swings like it's Dragon Ball Z, like slow motion, energy blast, the whole thing. And the character's completely straight-faced, like it's life or death.
See, that's the part I'd find funny. Because if you know golf, you know it's the least life or death sport imaginable. It's literally old dudes in khakis chasing a ball with a cart full of beer.
Bro, I was thinking about this the other night. You ever consider what it'd be like if Dexter went up against Light Yagami? Like Dexter hunting Kira, that would be the biggest challenge of his life.
Joe, Dexter wouldn't stand a chance. Not even close.
What? Oh, come on, man, think about it. From Dexter's side, he's used to taking down serial killers, right? This is like the ultimate one. He'd be obsessed. You could do a whole season of him stalking Kira, trying to figure out his identity, planning his kill ritual.
Yeah, except here's the problem. Light isn't some sloppy Miami butcher who leaves blood in his trunk. He's literally murdering people by writing their names in a book. Dexter works for the cops, Joe. That means there's a giant paper trail with his name, his face, his fingerprints, all of it. Light wouldn't even have to meet him. He'd just scribble down, Dexter Morgan, dies in boating accident, and boom, dead before Dexter even sharpens a scalpel.
Okay, but you're just assuming Light gets his name that easily. What if Dexter is sneaky? He could tail Light, maybe even find a way to trip him up.
Sneaky doesn't matter when the opponent is basically supernatural. Dexter's skill set is knives, plastic wrap, and working in forensics. None of that protects you from a magic notebook that kills you if I know your name and face. He's out of his depth.
All right, but listen, what if you use Book Dexter instead of Show Dexter?
Now you're talking. Book Dexter is a completely different animal. He's colder, more detached, way more calculating. He doesn't let himself get tangled up in emotions the way TV Dexter does. And importantly, he hides his face. Doesn't give people much to work with. Light would have to dig a lot harder to get his real name or even confirm who he was.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Book Dexter's basically designed to be this predator that lives in shadows. Light thrives when people live in public. A guy who actively masks his identity, that throws a wrench in the Death Note system.
Sure, in that case, it becomes a real chess match. Dexter trying to corner Kira without exposing himself, Light trying to figure out the true name of some faceless monster. That's interesting. But if we're talking show Dexter, the dude with a house, a job, a cop sister, and a Netflix subscription, nah, he'd be dead by episode 2.
Man, I'd still love to see that, like a crossover Dexter, Light Shadow, just him narrating in that like creepy monologue voice, tonight's the night, and it's gonna happen over and...
And right before he finishes, he clutches his chest and keels over mid-monologue because Light already wrote his name down.
Damn, dude, you're killing my fanfic here.
Don't blame me. Blame supernatural Japanese stationery.
You know what, man? I think Soap and Ghost deserve way more love as Call of Duty's best duo than Mason and Woods.
Finally, Joe, you're saying something that doesn't sound like you pulled it out of a vape cloud. You're right. Soap and Ghost are the real ride or die pair. Mason and Woods? Sure, they're iconic, but they're like the grumpy uncle and the war buddy. Soap and Ghost feel like brothers.
Exactly. Mason and Woods are badass, no doubt, but their whole thing is Cold War paranoia, mind control, numbers station. Like, it's heavy, it's psychological thriller vibes. Soap and Ghost, though? Dude, they're bros. Soap's cracking jokes in the middle of firefights. Ghost is the stoic masked killer backing him up. It's yin and yang, man.
It's balance. Soap brings the levity, Ghost brings the intimidation. Together, they're the perfect storm. Plus, Ghost has that mystery factor. You don't know who he is under the mask, but you feel the trust between them anyway. That's rare in a military shooter where everyone's usually just grunting and yelling, "Get to cover!"
Yeah, and fans love them for that. I've seen more memes about Soap and Ghost in the past few years than Mason and Woods in the past decade. People aren't tattooing Mason's numbers station on their arm, but I've seen guys with Ghost skull mask inked across their whole chest.
And that's the thing, Joe. Soap and Ghost became cultural icons without the baggage of what do the numbers mean. They don't need conspiracies or brainwashing. They're just two soldiers with loyalty, chemistry, and trust. Mason and Woods might have carried the franchise's story in the Black Ops era, but Soap and Ghost carried its heart.
Bro, if I had to squat up in real life, I'd pick Soap and Ghost over Mason and Woods any day. Woods is cool, but he's like the uncle that might leave you stranded at the bar. Soap and Ghost, those dudes would die before they let you down.
Couldn't agree more. And besides, Soap and Ghost feel modern. They represent the evolution of Call of Duty friendships. Mason and Woods were about Cold War distrust, secrecy, government experiments. Soap and Ghost are about brotherhood, loyalty, and surviving hell together. That's timeless.
Damn right, Soap and Ghost forever, man.
Mason can keep his numbers. Ghost has the mask, Soap has the charm, and together they've got the bond that makes you actually care when bullets start flying.
You ever think about ghosts, Rick? Like, people always act like they're terrifying, but what if they really are just spirits, like the soul sticking around after the body's gone?
Spirits, huh? Joe, you're still in campfire story mode. Look, ghosts aren't souls trapped in your grandma's attic. If they exist, they're way more likely to be little rips, weak spots, in time or universes. Like echoes. You're not seeing a person, you're seeing playback of a person.
That's interesting, but man, I don't know. Some of the stories people tell, cold spots, whispers, whole apparitions, that feels supernatural. Like, I think there's more to us than biology. When you die, maybe some part of you hangs on.
Or, stay with me here, it's faulty reality wiring. The universe isn't some perfect computer, it glitches. Ghosts are just bad code showing up in the wrong timeline. Not Uncle Larry haunting your basement, just Uncle Larry's image bleeding over from another branch of the multiverse.
That's less creepy and more badass sci-fi, dude. But here's the thing. I never got why people are so afraid of ghosts. Like, what are they gonna do? Say boo and knock over a lamp?
Exactly. You're safer running into a ghost at midnight than running into, say, Chad, who's blackout drunk behind the wheel. Ghosts don't mug you, they don't stab you, they don't scam you on crypto. Worst case scenario, they flick the lights.
Yeah, man, people are terrified of a cold breeze in a hallway, but don't even blink walking through a dark parking garage at 2 a.m. Ghosts aren't scary, humans are scary.
Humans have teeth, weapons, bank accounts, grudges. Ghosts? They've got a bad Wi-Fi signal and maybe a spooky face. If anything, they're entertainment.
Facts. Ghosts might freak you out in the moment, but honestly, I'd rather run into a whole haunted house than one sketchy dude outside a gas station at 3 a.m.
Same, and that's the real horror story. Humans, not hauntings.
Dude, you know what would be sick? If Wesker came back in Resident Evil 9?
Ugh, Joe. No, absolutely not. Wesker's been milked more than a radioactive cow at an Umbrella dairy farm. He had a full arc. He died in a volcano, for God's sake. You don't get more final than rocket launchers into lava.
But that's why it'd be badass, man. Like, think about it. Resident Evil has zombies, mutants, bioweapons, clones, viruses. You're telling me they can't just bring him back with some crazy science experiment? The dude already had glowing eyes and super speed. He's like the anime villain of the series.
And that's the problem, Joe. Resident Evil works best when it's grounded in horror, in human-scale paranoia. Every time they drag Wesker's anime-ass sunglasses back on screen, it shifts into cartoon supervillain mode. It stops being survival horror and turns into Dragon Ball Z Biohazard Edition.
I don't know, man. I think people miss him. He's iconic. Like, when you think Resident Evil villains, it's Wesker. Imagine the trailer, dark screen, heavy breathing, then you just see those shades glint and his voice goes, "Did you really think you'd seen the last of me?" People would lose it.
Oh, people would lose it all right. Half would cheer, the other half would roll their eyes so hard they'd detach their retinas. Capcom finally hit gold with Resident Evil 7 and Village because they ditched that comic book energy. They leaned into gothic horror, atmosphere, new blood. If you drag Wesker out of the volcano, you're just admitting you ran out of ideas.
What if it's not him, though? Like a clone, or his son, or his consciousness in an AI body? You could do it without cheapening the volcano death.
Joe, listen to yourself. Clone, son, AI, those are all soap opera excuses to resurrect a character you don't need anymore. It's narrative necromancy. Resident Evil should move forward, not duct tape the past back together.
But it's Resident Evil, man. Soap opera logic is half the fun. People want the dumb twists. You're playing a game about giant fish mutants and vampire moms. You can't suddenly get precious about logic.
It's not about logic, it's about tone. Keep Wesker dead. Let the volcano be his grave. Use that energy to build the next big villain instead of recycling old sunglasses.
Still, though, picture the shades, Rick. Picture them.
Fine. If they bring him back, I'll only accept it if he comes back as like a melted lava zombie with sunglasses fused to his skull.
Lava zombie Wesker. Bro, I'd play the hell out of that. All right, Rick, real question. What's your Domino's order? Like, you sit down, you're actually going to order it.
Domino's? You mean cardboard circles with cheese adhesive? Fine. Thin crust, extra pepperoni, jalapenos, mushrooms. Drown it in garlic dipping sauce so I don't have to taste the existential dread of eating Domino's at 2 a.m.
For me, it's the pan pizza. I don't know what they do with that buttery crust, but it's addictive. Pepperoni and banana peppers every time.
Banana peppers? You just want to pickle your intestines?
The tang cuts through the grease as it's the perfect bite. And you gotta have the lava cakes after, too.
Oh yeah, nothing says I've given up like washing down pizza grease with molten chocolate sludge. That's not dessert, Joe. That's self-sabotage in cupcake form.
What about wings, though?
Wings at Domino's? That's like ordering sushi at a gas station. If I wanted soggy chicken covered in regret sauce, I'd just go lick the floor of a high school cafeteria.
You're crazy. The hot buffalo wings with ranch on the side are solid. The heat hits just right, then you dip the crust in the leftover ranch after. It's like a cheat code.
Cheat code is a nice way of saying respawn at the toilet in 4 hours. Those wings are microscopic. They look like they plucked them off radioactive pigeons.